Committee Member Ladresse, seconded by Committee Member Moore-Coburn. All those in favor? That motion is carried. I'll ask for a declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, I will I'll notify members that if you find a conflict of interest at any point during the meeting, you can declare it at that time. With respect to the minutes for both the April meeting and this meeting will be available at the June meeting. Moving to new business, we have a new application, DEV 2025-026, a minor variance application and a severance application, B10/25 for Alexic. This is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to consider the application for a minor variance and severance for Ninad and Bogdanka Alexic under sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act regarding property located at 293 Balmy Beach Road. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, please go ahead with your review.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There have been no requests for deferral or withdrawal of the application. Notice of this application in accordance with the Ontario Regulation 197/96 made under the Planning Act was given on April 7th, 2025 by mail to all property owners within 60 meters of the property which is subject to the application and to all required agencies. Notice was also posted on the Township's website. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you must make a request to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee, and only a person or public body that requests a notice of decision of the Committee in respect to this proposed severance may appeal or submit an appeal of the severance.
Sorry, folks. Thank you, Mr. Secretary Chair. I will now read the recommendation. It has been demonstrated that the proposed applications are consistent with the PPS and comply with the Grey County Official Plan, the Township of Georgian Bluffs Official Plan, and the general intent and purpose of the Township of Georgian Bluffs Zoning Bylaw 2020-20. Accordingly, it is recommended that application B10/25 be approved with the following conditions applied. 1, that a reference plan be completed and a copy filed with the municipal clerk or an exemption from the reference plan be received from the Land Registry Office. 2, that pursuant to section 53, paragraph 42 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 2 years of the giving of the notice of decision or as specified in the Planning Act at the time of deed stamping. 3, that the applicant pays the applicable consent certification fee at the time of the certification of deeds. 4, that the applicant pays 5% cash in lieu of parkland in accordance with the Planning Act. 5, that a servicing feasibility study be completed demonstrating the ability of both the severed and retained parcels lands to accommodate separate private sewage treatment systems. With respect to the minor variance application, it is also noted that the application A02/25 has satisfied section 45, paragraph 1 of the Planning Act and has demonstrated that the application meets the 4 measures that A, it is 1, minor in nature, 2, appropriate or desirable use of the land, building, or structure, 3, maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan, and 4, maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. There, it is recommended that the minor variance application A01/25 be approved. I am looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Committee Member Moore-Coburn, seconded by Committee Member McMillan. Could the planner give us a summary of the planning report regarding this file?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of application B10/25 is to sever approximately 920.8 square meters of vacant land intended for future residential use. 1,335 square meters of land containing a semi-detached dwelling with a carport and shed will be retained for continued residential use. The purpose of application A02/25 is to recognize reduced frontage for the severed lands of 14.26 meters, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a frontage of 30 meters. and a reduced area of 920.8 square meters, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a minimum lot area of 4,047 square meters for the shoreline residential zone. In terms of comments received, notice of this application was circulated to all commenting agencies and neighboring properties within 60 meters of the subject lands on April 7th. Following comments have been received. Grey County Planning and Development Services comment dated April 2025, summarized as no concerns. Grey Sable Risk Management Office comments dated April 17th, 2025 noted no concern provided there is no fuel storage in excess of 2,500 liters on the subject lands. And the committee members would have also received comments from the Grey Sable Conservation Authority in an email from myself earlier today that also noted no concerns from the Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. I now call upon the applicant to provide comments. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning.
Mr. Chair, the applicant is not in attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. No members of the public registered to provide comment. I will now call upon members of the public who may wish to make comment on this application. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning.
No members of the public are also in attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. Are there any points raised by the planner, applicant, or public that the committee wishes to respond to? Committee Member Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I won't be supporting this application for a number of reasons, and I did send comments to Michael. The significance of the undersize of the lot, half the frontage, 2/3 of the lot area being required, it leaves a landlocked parcel that doesn't have frontage onto a public road. It does now have a frontage on a public road, but they're using some sort of easement to deal with it. And thirdly, the retained parcel falls below the minimum standards in the zoning bylaw even further and hasn't been addressed in the minor variance or by zoning bylaw amendment. So for those three reasons, I will not be supporting this application, either consent or minor variance.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. I saw Committee Member Moore-Colburn, and then I'll get to you, Committee Member Ladresse.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. I'm always relieved when Member Glenn and I are on the same page. I had a conversation earlier with Mr. Benner as well for all of the same reasons that Member Glenn articulated far more eloquently than I ever could. The big one for me is the easement access. And for those reasons, I also will not be supporting this application.
Thank you, Committee Member Moore-Colburn. Committee Member Ladresse, the floor is yours. Oh, you might be on mute. No, now you're just talking too quietly. Nope. No.
Is anyone getting any audio?
None. Committee Member Ladresse, from our vantage point, it looks like it's saying you're muted or your speaker's muted. I don't, that's maybe not helpful to you. The question is, does the property have any servicing? That's in the chat from Committee Member Ladresse.
And make sure I'm not muted. To you, Mr. Chair, the property is serviced by municipal water. but has private sewage septic services.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. I'll wait a second to see if committee member Ledgerse has an additional comment. Nope, seeing none. Okay. Oh, committee member Moore Colburn, do you have an additional comment?
I do. Thank you, Chair Thompson. It's likely very minor, but I did note that the staff report references infilling in a shallow lake settlement area, which I believe is likely a typo, and I didn't know if that needed to be revised for our records, or if it's so unimportant that we wouldn't need to change it. I would just leave that up to Mr. Benner.
Good catch, committee member Moore Colburn. I'll turn that over to the planner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and likewise, a good catch. As I was writing this report, I was also working on the report in Shallow Lake, and transposed Shallow Lake where it should have said Balmy Beach, East Linton area, and I will make note of that in the meeting minutes, and also a correction on the report for the file.
Thank you, Mr. Planner. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will now call the vote on the motion as presented. Would you like all those in favor? All those opposed? That motion is defeated. If there is no further discussion, I'll now call for an adjournment of this public meeting. Committee member Glenn.
Mr. Chairman, since that motion was defeated, could I introduce a motion that the applications for severance and minor variance be refused?
I'm looking to the planner for some advice.
To you, Mr. Chair, yes, that's a good point. That could be that's council's or committee's wishes. We can report back to the applicants that the applications were refused. That would provide some more clarity in case there is a chance for an appeal.
Okay, so I think I'm hearing a separate motion then, and I'm looking for a motion that, I'm just looking for the title here. A motion that application B10/25 and A02/25 be refused as presented.
I would move that, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by committee member Glenn, seconded by committee member Ledgerse. Yes. Any discussion? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That motion is carried. So if there are no further items, I'll now call for an adjournment of this public hearing. Looking for a mover and a seconder. Motion by committee member Ledgerse, seconded by committee member McMillan. All those in favor? This public hearing is adjourned. We have no unfinished business. So if there is no further business, I'll now call for an adjournment of this meeting and a notice that our next Committee of Adjustment will meet on June 17th at 5 p.m. Looking for a motion. Moved by committee member Glenn and seconded by committee member McMillan. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Thanks very much, folks. Have a good night.